Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Tyagarajan Satish Kumar, faculty in the Department of Biotechnology, Umaruguru College of Technology, Coimbatore. Today, I am going to deal about the overview of molecular phylogenetics. What is the difference between conventional general phylogenetics with molecular phylogenetics? General phylogenetics use external morphological characters to categorize or to identify similar species, whereas molecular phylogenetics use molecular sequences like protein sequences and polynucleotide sequences to identify the similar species. What is the main disadvantage of general phylogenetics? In the case of general phylogenetics, say you want to find the similarities existing between a bat and human beings. Both are categorized under the same species, that is mammalian species. But it is very hard and fast to agree that bat shares similar properties with human beings because the external morphological characters were totally different. Whereas in the case of molecular phylogeny, this confusion will be totally sorted out. What molecular phylogeny says, general phylogeny, most of the time it fails to cluster the similar species, whereas molecular phylogeny, that is adoption of exact protein sequences and polynucleotide sequences, will position the right species. The right neighborhood species will be clustered. So in molecular phylogeny, we are going to adopt either a protein sequence or a polynucleotide sequence, and the results are so sensitive. So what is a molecular phylogeny? Again, it is a study of evolutionary relationships or lineages existing between sets of organisms. The results of any molecular phylogenetics will be given as a visual output, what we are claiming as phylogenetic tree. So how to construct a phylogenetic tree? So hereafter, if I'm going to say phylogeny, it is understood that molecular phylogeny. So how to construct a molecular phylogenetic tree? For that, we need a good multiple sequence alignment programs. So before entering into molecular phylogenetics, we have to go for, or we have to run multiple sequence alignment. So multiple sequence alignment means grouping more than or equal to 3 number of sequences put together in order to find or in order to observe the number of conserved characters and divergent characters. Phylogenetics or molecular phylogenetics also helps to identify the divergent groups, because most of the times bioinformaticians are much more peculiar in identifying the sequence similarity rather than dissimilarity. Whereas molecular phylogeny, the base of molecular phylogeny is dissimilarity. It tries even to find out what species are highly divergent. That is the greatest advantage of molecular phylogeny. So two different types of tree predictions is possible here under molecular phylogeny. One is a rooted tree, another one is unrooted tree. So here you can see a rooted tree. I have depicted the parts. A rooted tree will have a root, and the root sometimes can be also called as common ancestor. And here you can see one internal node or internal ancestor. So this is another internal ancestor. So two internal ancestors can be found over here, right? And you can see branch. So this is branch, another branch, branch, and finally there will be the leaves. So here a mix of Saccharomyces species were tried to cluster. So the Saccharomyces species, what it has been mentioned here, will be termed as a leaves or terminal nodes. So a phylogenetic tree will have the following parts. If it is a rooted tree, it will have a root, a common internal node or internal ancestor, a branch, then the terminal nodes or leaves. And very carefully here you see here it has been mentioned as in group. It has been mentioned as in group and out group. In group means the most closely related species. Out group means it belongs to Saccharomyces. Say, for example, it belongs to one particular genus, but most of the properties will not be shared with other species. Belongs to the same genus, right? Now here you can see it is a little bit different, right? So here we have taken a different species. This species is no way concerned with Saccharomyces. Among Saccharomyces, you can feel these two species were divergent. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 species were highly similar. These 2 species were slightly dissimilar. Then you consider Saccharomyces. Whereas this particular species is totally different from Saccharomyces. So the tree very clear-cutly it predicts that this particular species is totally different, right? This is totally different. So this species will be termed as outgroup. So in-group means related species, outgroup means species which doesn't belong to that particular genus. Now in the case of unrooted tree, most of the people now they try to predict an unrooted tree rather than rooted tree because of many advantages. So that I am not going to cover in this particular lecture. So unrooted tree means it may have leaves. You can compare. There is a terminal nodes or leaves. Now here you can see 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. These are all leaves. Even 7, 8 is also leaves. So terminal nodes, leaves can be identified. And even you can see branch. Now it is a branch. So branch. Now you can see the branch length is different. Now here the branch length is uniform. Even you can predict ununiform branch length. No issues. Branch length is directly proportional to the number of conserved or unconserved characters, right? So now here you can see branch is there, terminal nodes are distributed in an unrooted tree, but the one main issue is which is the root. Now here, can you claim that 8 can act as a root, 7 can act as a root, or 1 can act as a root? Now like this you imagine each and every numerical. If you imagine each and every numerical can act as a root. So prediction of root is very difficult in an unrooted tree, and this concept is widely adopted and accepted by many evolutionary biologists because we don't know which species arose first and second. Everything is predicted. Everything is prediction. So how to say that this is the very first species arose in this universe, and from that species only all other species now which is existing in this universe arose. So how to make a statement like this? So prediction of root is difficult. Prediction of root is impossible. That is the synopsis of unrooted tree. So two different trees can be predicted. One is rooted, another one is unrooted. Now, along with the visual output, now this is the visual output of a rooted tree. This is the root. This is internal node, and this is terminal node. You can see A and B, they are very closely similar with each other. D and E are closely similar. The question whether C is close to AB or D. Now C is close to AB, right? Now visual output. This is the visual output. This is the phylogenetic tree. Now even you can represent the evolutionary relationship in a text format. So the text format is actually termed as Nevick's formula, Nevick's format. So here you can see the same visual output is represented here as a Nevick's format. So AB are similar, highly similar. DE are highly similar. C is similar to AB rather than DE. So concept is you can represent a phylogenetic tree in a visual format, in a diagram image, or even you can represent the phylogenetic tree in a text format. And the name of the text format is Nevick's format or Nevick's formula. Two types of trees broadly we can classify, like rooted, unrooted. Even you can classify phylogenetic tree in this format. One is cladogram, another one is phylogram. Prediction of a cladogram or predicting a tree by using a cladogram in the sense it used time. The primary variable to find the relationship between the species is actually a time. It assumes molecular clock hypothesis. And many debates have crossed the table, and most of the scientists, they have come to a conclusion that instead of predicting a cladogram, it is best to predict the next type, that is your phylogram, which is more sensitive. So what is a phylogram? You can predict a phylogram purely based upon the differences existing between any two sequences, which in my subsequent slides I'm going to handle. Number of changes in the characters across the sequences is used to predict a phylogram. Here you can see distance is no way connected with the age. So what we have to learn, or what it is understood from this slide, even though there is a cladogram is not that much sensitive compared to phylogram. So always we should give more preference to predict a phylogram. So now here you can see cladogram measures time, phylogram measures changes or replacements, number of replacements or number of mismatches which exist across the sequences. And here you see the cladogram, the branch length sometimes it may be uniform, whereas in the case of phylogram, you can see the branch length is little bit ununiform. So ununiform in branch length is very, very important information, not only to find the similarity existing between the two species. Based upon the ununiformity in the branch length, you can find which species arose first and which arose second according to the environmental adaptations. That can be very clearly predicted with the help of phylogram. So always you give more preference for predicting a phylogram rather than a cladogram. I'm not going to deal much more about molecular clock theory. Very simple. Just I'll give an overview. What is a molecular clock theory? Molecular clock theory means substitution rates, substitution mutations, or replaced characters, or very simply genetic differences which occurs between proteins of related or homologous species across a stipulated time period. Now here you can see this graph. This is a hemoglobin. This is a cytochrome. This is a fibronectin. You can take hemoglobin between different mammalian species. The changes in the replacements in the amino acids which are existing in a hemoglobin moieties is uniform across a time period. For say, for example, for 2 million years, only two characters would have been changed. After 2 million years, that is 2 to 5 million years, some 5 characters would have been changed. So this 2 character change and 5 character change will be uniform for a particular class. And the another important thing is molecular clock is not constant for all the protein moieties. This is what explained over here. So the graph, hemoglobin graph, molecular clock graph is totally different from cytochrome. So different molecular clocks will be there for different proteins. Based upon this, you can draw or you can infer an important information how species arose and what is the necessity. Suppose there is an outbreak in one particular protein across an evolutionary period that shows that the importance of that particular protein according to the climate change. So this graph, if there is a sudden explode in a protein, that shows that there is a greatest need. Now here you can see this is very slowly this is emerging, whereas there is a sudden outbreak in cytochrome. See, that means there is a need for cytochrome. See, you know, cytochromes are very good electron carriers. So in order to increase the ATP output or in order effectively to transfer the electrons, there is a need for cytochrome. So functional wise we have to see. So molecular clocks help to understand the importance of any proteins. And we are not going to discuss much more. Now we'll enter into algorithm. How to predict a phylogenetic tree, a molecular phylogenetic tree. There are 2 types. You can predict distance based, methods are there. You can predict a phylogenetic tree using a character based. So what is a distance based? There are 3 different algorithms, very famous algorithms are existing. One is UPGMA, Full form for this is unweighted pair group method for arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean will be used. Unweighted arithmetic mean, unweighted arithmetic average will be used to predict a phylogenetic tree. And you see, it belongs to a phylogram. And next method is Fitch-Margoliouth. It will use some algebraic oriented calculations. In this lecture, I'm going to restrict just with UPGMA. In my subsequent lectures, I will cover in depth about Fitch-Margoliouth and neighbor joining methods. But for overview, understand distance-based methods can be categorized into three varieties. One is UPGMA. Under UPGMA, uniform branch length will be predicted. Fitch-Margoliouth and neighbor joining method. Improvised method of Fitch-Margoliouth is neighbor joining method. Fitch-Margoliouth FM as well as neighbor joining NJ both uses algebraical oriented calculations with little bit difference in the algorithm. If you understand Fitch-Margoliouth, it is very easy to understand neighbor joining. Both the Fitch-Margoliouth and neighbor joining methods assumes or calculate ununiformity in branch length, whereas UPGMA method will calculate only uniform branch length. Now the next variety is character based. Under character based, there are two methods. One is maximum parsimony, another one is maximum likelihood. Here, instead of converting into a numericals, how conserved characters will be taken into account. Under character based methods, conserved characters will be taken into account, whereas in distance based, replacements or unconserved characters will be taken into account. So this is the basic difference between distance based and character based methods. This is a very simple decision tree. Now assume that you want to do some phylogenetic analysis. How to start? First you select set of species. So here it has been mentioned, choose set of related sequences. In the sense, to take hemoglobin, myoglobin, hexokinase, pyruvate carboxylates, whatever protein you want, you can select. Either if you want a protein sequence, you can select, or it's a respective gene sequence. If you want to select, you can select. You identify a protein, then you identify different species, you select it. And then you do multiple sequence alignment. So the first primitive stage is you have to do multiple sequence alignment with a very effective algorithm. Now you observe the result. Now this is a decision tree. Decision tree will ask yes, no question. Is there a strong similarity exist? Sequence similarity is very strong. If your answer is yes, then you go for maximum parsimony method. So earlier I told that maximum parsimony and maximum likelihood, the prediction of phylogenetic tree is purely based upon conserved characters. So strong similarity exists between multiple sequences. Sorry, go for maximum parsimony method. Now the answer is no. Just you observe, at least some clarity is there, some recognizable, some significant sequence similarity is there. If your answer is yes, right, then you go for distance method. Some sort of similarity. It is very hard to find, or it is very hard to comment about sequence similarity, or you are so confused whether the sequences are similar or dissimilar. You are so confused. You are unable to comment about the sequence similarity. Totally blank. Very simple. Go for maximum likelihood. So strong sequence similarity, go for maximum parsimony. Sequence similarity is very moderate or little bit poor, go for distance based methods. Very hard to comment whether about sequence similarity, then you go for maximum likelihood. So you go for a decision tree analysis before selecting a very good method, because selection of method is very, very important for very clear-cutly interfering your results. Now we'll go for distance-based method. I'm going to cover only UPGMA. So what does a distance-based method will do? It will just observe unconserved or mismatches among the sequences. Now here you can see, first you take set of sequences, sequence A, B, C, D, in the sense, don't imagine that different sequences, different proteins, sequence A, B, C, D, all four sequences denote, assume only hemoglobin. Sequence A is also hemoglobin, B is also hemoglobin, C is also hemoglobin, D is also hemoglobin. Only thing is, A would have been taken from Homo sapiens, B would have been taken from Post Taurus, C from a bat, D from a bacteria. So, a protein which is distributed in different species. So, you are going to select the same protein. So, don't confuse that. Sequence A is totally different from sequence B. So, here you have to assume that four different species rather than four different sequences. Now, all four hemoglobin moieties or myoglobin moieties or any protein moieties from four different species. So, you align by using multiple sequence methodology. Select a good algorithm, do multiple sequence alignment. Then you find the number of differences existing between pairwise sequences. So n here is number of replacements, number of mismatches existing between two different species A and B. So just you observe. So here you can see these are all conserved characters AA, CC, GG. These are all conserved characters. Whereas now here you can see TC is unconserved, or now this is a mismatch. Now CT is another mismatch. CT is another mismatch. So how many mismatches we have encountered between A and B? Three mismatches. So like that, every pairwise sequence, after clustering multiple sequences, every pairwise sequences should be looked for number of mismatches to create a distance table. So here distance is nothing but number of mismatches. So you create a distance table. From the distance table, you predict a genetic tree. We'll go for unweighted pair group method with arithmetic mean, UPGMA. It works by clustering the sequences. As I said earlier, you have to do a multiple sequence alignment. Mainly it produces rooted trees. So for every aim, you cannot use this particular method. You should very clearly, you should define what is your aim based upon the aim, based upon the goal. Select this method. But this is a very good primitive method. To have a primitive idea, it is harmless to exercise this particular method. It produces rooted tree, right, upwards, which contains root, branches, and internal nodes, terminal nodes or leaves, etc., etc., etc. Statistically, it uses unweighted arithmetic mean to calculate the distances between the species. Now here I have taken a set of 5 different sequences. The first stage, you have to identify the number of replacements or mismatches or substitutions between the pairwise. So how to calculate the pairwise? You can use this formula n. So n is number of sequences. So how many number of sequences here I have taken? 5 number of sequences. So very simple, 5 into 5 minus 1 by 2. So 5 into 5 minus 1, how many? 5 into 4 by 2, 20 by 2. You will be getting 10 different substitutions, or very clear cutly you have to say 10 different pairs. So what are the 10 different pairs? Substitutions existing between AB, first pair, AC, AD, blah blah blah. You can see 5 different pairs. So when you take 6 sequences, how many different pairs you will get? 6 into 5 divided by 2. If you take 7, 7 into 7 minus 1 by 2. You take 8, 8 into 8 minus 1 by 2. So you keep this formula as a base formula n into n minus 1, 2 to calculate the number of pairs or substitutions. So first you slate the sequences horizontally, calculate the number of replacements. Now here you see, if for example I take AB, how many different mismatches are existing between A and B? So here you can see this is one mismatch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mismatches. Now here you can see DE. So this is DE. How many mismatches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mismatches. So like this, you calculate number of mismatches or replacements or substitutions existing between different pairs. That is the first stage of algorithm. What is the second stage? Second stage is very important stage where you have to construct the matrix table. This is a distance matrix table. Now you create a distance matrix table like this. So there are 5 different sequences. So you put A, B, C, D horizontal, and then you put B, C, D, E vertical. Now you put A and B. Already we have calculated A and B contains 5 replacements. You put 5 here. A and C contains how much? You can see 3. You put 3. So like this, you create a initial distance matrix table purely filled with the values which reflect the mismatches or substitutions existing between different pairs. So AB is a pair, CD is a pair, DE is a pair. You can see. After filling this table, you see you observe the numerical. Now how to identify the similar species? So A is one species. A could be bat, B could be human beings, C could be chimpanzee. Like that, you can imagine 5 different species. Now, by observing this, the first stage, now here, you have to identify the most similar or neighborhood pair or neighborhood species among A, B, C, D, E. How to find which pair has recorded least number of mismatches, least number of substitutions. That particular pair can be considered as what? The most closely related species. So here we observe that the numerical 3 means only 3 characters has been substituted, has been replaced in due course of evolution. The rest of the characters were retained as such. Can we see? AC, here you can see. So W and R, one mismatch. E and E is retained. R and R is retained. T and T is retained. Y and Y is retained. Now you can see second mismatch, S and K. E and E is retained. Now third mismatch, K and Y. Only 3 mismatch for AC. In due course of evolution, maybe after 5 million years or 10 million years, you can see most of the amino acids are highly resistant. E and E is not changed. R is retained. T is retained. Y is retained. Highly resistant. So most of the functions between these 2 species, A and C, would have been same, would have been similar, right? So that is the meaning. So A and C. So you amalgamate these 2. A and C was clustered, and here the highest, I have given explanation, highest similar or high similar pair, less number of mismatches should be identified. It should be amalgamated, right? So that is AC. So this is the Nevix format. Now here initially I have predicted a simple phylogenetic tree. The number of mismatches is 3, right? So the distance between A and C should be 3. The internal node is actually 1.5. Now you can see creation of distance table again. Now I have clustered A and C. So now what I have to find, what is the distance existing between B, D, E? I found that A, C pair is very close. Now what is the distance existing between AC and B, AC and D, AC and E should be calculated in this stage. So how to calculate distance between AC and B? So here I have given the model calculation. I told that this actually assumes unweighted arithmetic average, unweighted arithmetic mean. So how to calculate distance between AC and B? So distance between AB, distance between BC, they should be summated. It should be divided equally. So what is distance between AB? Already we have given. It is 5. Distance between BC, it is 4. So 5 plus 4, 9 by 2, 4.5. So the distance between AC and B is 4.5. So like this, you calculate the distance between D and the distance between E. So AC and D, AC and E should be calculated. right? And then after calculation, again you observe. Now here after filling, you observe which is the most closest pair. Here also after calculating the distance between AC and BDE, you observe which has recorded the least number of substitutions, least number of mismatches. Here you can see the least number of mismatches is existing between D and E. So the next slide, here you can see I have amalgamated D and E. So here we found A and C is very close. We have predicted here. Then we found D and E is very close. Yes, I have amalgamated D and E. Now left is only B. Now the intention here is B is close to AC or B is close to DE. We have to find. Now this table, now here you can see distance between AC and B, distance between D and B we can find, right? So after finding this, you can use the same formula, right? Just summate the distance, divide by 2, just arithmetic mean. After completion, you can find the distance between AC and B is so close. That means species B is very close to species A and C rather than D. Based upon this, you can construct a phylogenetic tree like this, A and C, which is very close to B, whereas this D and E is totally different. Now, if I'm asking you to find which is the outgroup, so what will be your answer? It should be ACB or it should be DE? Yes, priority should be given to more groups. So here outgroup should be D and E, whereas ACB is very, very close. And you can give visual output like this, a phylogenetic tree. There is a root. In my early lecture, I told in my early discussion, I have mentioned that UPGMA will predict only rooted tree. So here you can see there is a root, there is an ancestral node or internal node. You can see the branch length is always uniform, right? And here this is the terminal node, leaves. The same concept can be also reflected as a text formula. Here you can see AC and B are close, D is totally different. Now I have given the entire answer. You can see AC is very close to B, D is an outgroup. You can consider ACB as an in-group, DE as outgroup. This is the Nevix format or Nevix formula. Step 3, this is the step 3, you construct the phylogenetic tree finally, give the output. So what is the limitation? As I told, it produces a rooted tree. We are telling something is acting, some single organism is acting as the ancestor for arrows of all species, which is not accepted by most of the scientific communities. So that is one limitations or advantage. And we are predicting, or the UPGMA predicts uniform rate of substitution patterns, again, which is not acceptable. So these two are the limitations of UPGMA, which was totally cracked by the next two methods, that is Fitch-Margoliouth and neighbor joining method. So I'm not going to cover very detailed about FM as well as NJ. I'll give you an just nutshell. So in the case of FM, if there are 5 sequences, say for example A, B, C, D, E, again you do multiple sequence alignment, you create a distance table which is similar to UPGMA. After creation of a distance table, you have to move a little bit different, because Fitch-Margoliouth algorithm produces unrooted tree rather than a rooted tree. So it uses algebra as its basis. So after creation of a distance matrix table, you find which is the closest similar or neighborhood. So here also we found AC is very similar. Like that, you find the most related species. You, for example, AC, or here it is AB. If AB is most closely related species, means you treat that you treat the rest of the sequences as composite. That is C, D, E. You keep AB, you found that AB is closely related, you keep AB. CDE should be amalgamated, or CDE should be composite. You find distance between AB and C, AB and D, AB and E using algebra. So XYZ. After calculating this, you keep CDE, you amalgamate AB. You find distance between CDE with A, CDE with B, and then you can complete the phylogenetic tree, which will produce a very fantastic unrooted tree. So remember, Fitch-Margoliouth algorithm is not going to use arithmetic. Very specifically, unweighted arithmetic mean is not used. Branch length will not be uniform. Predicted tree is totally unrooted. It is not rooted tree. So these are the greatest advantages of Fitch-Margoliouth. Nowadays, people are using Fitch-Margoliouth, or even we have shifted to neighbor joining method, improvised version of Fitch-Margoliouth algorithm. Neighbor joining similar to Fitch-Margoliouth, right? Only thing is sequences will be chosen based upon least square estimates, and here a star-like topology will be assumed, and then based upon the similarity, you can see the stars or the species will be merged one another. And even in NCBI BLAST, you can see the provision of a neighbor joining method. So for initial alignments, for initial predictions, you can use UPGMA, but that is not encouraged. You can go for neighbor joining method, which predicts different branch length, which shows that different species arose at different times. Thank you. So if you have any queries, you can post me at this mail ID, Satish Kumar, SATHISHKUMAR .t.bt at kct.ac.in. So friends, eagerly I'm waiting for your questions. Any questions, you can reach to me. Thank you. Thanks a lot.